was reading a study recently, and I realized that people who pursue happiness at the end of the day are more depressed than those who pursue purpose.
Waking up with an intention of fulfilling something, waking up with an intention of doing something that you can come back and look at the end of the day and say, this is what I wanted to do today. This is what I did. And okay, did I fulfill purpose?
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Moment of Growth and Transformation with Tosin. Today, I have a wonderful person with me who we will be sharing with you the path into purpose. And this is specifically for women and for youth. Let's welcome with me, Coach Funmi, Shoyomi. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tosin.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I just want you to introduce yourself to the people.
I'm just Funmi Shoyomi, and I will say I'm a coach, I'm a speaker, and my major aim is just to help women out there, youths, girls, boys, to help to pursue purpose, discover their purpose, and fulfill purpose in where we are. And my basis is just using my life lessons gathered over a few years in different areas of life to help to encourage others to pursue purpose and discover their purpose and fulfill their purpose.
Thank you so much. I mean, what a powerful venture, because we can never go wrong when it comes to helping people discover purpose. I was reading a study recently, and I realized that people who pursue happiness at the end of the day are more depressed than those who pursue purpose. So when we pursue purpose, when people understand purpose, so many things change. Because I see so many people in our world today. People have gifts, they have talents, and then they come to the inbox and they're still asking for money again. So it saddens my heart. Like, you can do something with this. I'm going to help you figure out something with this. You can profit with this purpose. And then from there, you also need some steps to take. And that is what we are going to be discussing today with our viewers.
Awesome.
So grab a cup of coffee, tell a friend, and let's dive into it.
Awesome.
Okay. So today, let's start from here. What will you say a purpose is to a layman or someone you're coaching for the first time, or to a confused person?
The word purpose is actually large in itself, but to a layman, and to just put it in a little form for us to be able to get what purpose is, just what you are uniquely made for. Purpose is that thing you've been created to fulfill. Purpose is that thing every other person will do the same thing, but you will do it differently, because that is what God has in plan for you. That is how I will define purpose to a layman. I will say that thing God made you for, uniquely, that is particular to you. That is your purpose.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So purposeful living will then mean being intentional in how you live to fulfill that purpose on daily basis. In fact, per moment, per seconds. And I think that will include the relationship with myself, the relationship with God, the relationship with others, our relationship with food, relationship with money,
everything.
Having the right education, having the right thinking, acting the right way, staying committed despite the challenges that will come on your way of walking in that purpose. So to me, that would be being intentional or living intentionally on purpose.
That is true.
Do you have anything to add to living intentionally on
that
purpose?
Is true. That is true. Here I wrote purposeful living, how we align our life to what's that thing we are made for. And like you said, that is living each and every day with intention, not just waking up and going like every other person and feeling like, oh, this day goes through, then I'm done, then I'm back to bed, then I wake up again. Waking up with an intention of fulfilling something, waking up with an intention of doing something that you can come back and look at the end of the day and say, this is what I wanted to do today. This is what I did. And okay, did I fulfill purpose at this very point in time? Purposeful living is in relationship with God, in relationship with ourselves, because we cannot actually fulfill purpose minus God.
True.
There's no way purpose can be fulfilled when God is not in it. In the first place, He created us. He put the purpose in. He, from the beginning, decided that this is who you are going to be. This is what you're going to do. This is who you are going to impact in this aspect of life. So when we take God out of the equation, we are not living purposefully anymore. We are just living when we take God out of the equation. Also, we need to be able to discover ourselves. And it goes back to God. It's hard for one to discover oneself. It's hard for one to know what is uniquely yours when you don't have God in the equation. So purposeful living, God has to be in it and helping you to figure out yourself. And every other thing comes also. How I live, what I eat, what I do, when I wake up, what are my goals in life. And those are the things that comes together to help us live a life of purpose.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Coach Funmi. So when it comes to purposeful living, we discover that generally in life, we see more men at the forefront than women. And we have a lot of women also, in their own field, and they are really doing great. But I've also seen, and I was there also, I've also seen lots of women, lots of married women who, even though the environment seems comfortable, but there is this something that they feel is still missing. So why do you think it's particularly relevant for women and young people today to live on purpose?
Yeah. If we really look at it, if we really think about it, over time, let's say since I started growing up, maybe I didn't know beyond before I was born, but over time we've seen women relegated to some aspect of life. We've seen women seen as this, as that. They are not this and they are not that. And a lot of us women, we've imbibed and we've put ourselves to that point where this is who they say I am. This is who I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to do. So even when inside of us, things are bubbling and ideas are bubbling, and you just know that, oh, this thing I need to do. The mindset of this is who they say I am, this is what I'm told to do, comes back to relegate us to the background. And until we get out of that mindset, until we get out of our own mind of believing that we are in this little bubble and this is where and this is how we should be, a lot of us will not fulfill the purpose that we have been made for. And if I'm allowed to, I will lead to example of myself at a point. Even though I don't feel like I wasn't relegated, and even though I didn't feel like I was put in a bubble, I kind of put myself in a bubble without even thinking about it, without even realizing it, believing that, oh, this is all I can do. And this is where I can thrive, forgetting that God has made things all possible for us. God has made all things for us to be able to do them. A lot of times we pull ourselves to this little space, believing that this is us, this is me, this is all I can do, this is all I can achieve. You've never explored or even try to know that thing inside of me. Maybe I should go explore and see, maybe it's for me. A lot of times I get to a point where, oh, I just want to be this. I just want to be a lawyer, then get married and have my kids, and all things will be well. And God is calling you to more. And God is calling you to go forth and impact others, impact life, make differences in people's life. And you just feel like, I'm not a pastor, I'm not a preacher, I will just be here. If it happens that one person comes around, I will try and impact them. If they don't come around, I'm here. So a lot of times I think men are at the forefront because of the mindset they have from the beginning of being the head, of taking charge. And women are at the background because of the same mindset of you are supposed to be here. You are supposed to be here. And I'm not saying women go forth and take over the men. I'm a woman that believes everybody has his own place. Everybody, God has made man the head. God has made women the helpmate. We all have our own place. We all work together to achieve our aim. But a lot of us women also, God is calling us to even more higher assignments, to even more greater things. But we're not letting it through because we believe this is where I'm supposed to be, or for fear of being told that you are not supposed to be here.
Thank you so much. That was deep. You see, as you were talking about women finding their place, it comes to mind that most of the time it becomes very essential and also relevant for women and young people to live in their purpose, because women spend more time with the children than men.
Yeah.
So if you're building a youth, if you're building a young man or a young woman who will live on purpose, then as a mother, as a woman, we have to live that example of a purposeful life to those children.
Yeah.
So that they see it in their life, and so they emulate it, and then they want to become what God has called them to become. I was sharing with someone not quite long, and I was talking about the fact that 1,000 years is like a day before God, and a day is like 1,000 years. 2 Peter 3:8. Now, if that is so short, so even if I live 120 years old on earth, I still haven't used 2 seconds or 2 minutes, as the case may be. I don't know math. Now, so if that is the case, then why don't we look at how we can make every day count? How we can make every moment count? Like if you sit down on your birthday, on your 80th birthday, what will people be reading to you? And that's one of the reasons why I feel it's very essential for us to be intentional about purposeful living as a woman and as a youth. Let's go into this. What are the challenges of purposeful living? Is what makes it difficult for people to live purposefully?
Yeah. I mean, I think there are different things, and I kind of shared it into 2 parts here, going with what makes it difficult for women and what makes it difficult for youth, because some things are kind of go into each other, but there are some that is particular to youth and there's some that is particular to women. And for women, one thing I would say is, the first thing I will say, because a lot of times we attribute not being able to do something or not being able to achieve something to outside effects. But the main thing is ourselves. That's the first point, ourselves. Whatever comes around, whatever comes after, like other things, should come second or third. So I would say self-doubt is a first issue, obstacle to purposeful living. Self-doubt. When we get into our own head and we are at this point where we're not feeling like we are capable, or we're feeling like somebody is better than us, or
I'm
we're
not
feeling,
enough.
Yes, I'm not enough. I'm not enough. Oh, these people I see doing it, they have all these. They have the money. They have the personality. They have all these. I don't think I have the money they have. I don't think I'm as beautiful as they are. I don't think I can talk like they do. All these things eventually breaks one down to the extent that you don't even believe in yourself anymore. So if I don't believe in myself, how will other people believe in me? How am I even giving God that opportunity to say, okay, I can count on this daughter of mine to go do the work? A lot of time, that self-doubt just it goes, it's like a ripple effect into some other stuff. And that's my own, I'll just go for it. Self-doubt is the first thing. Then every other thing comes after. maybe societal influence. And so this, let me go back a little bit. Sometimes we hear that a society or people around you point finger at you and say, oh, this is who you are. Before anybody will come up to me and say, Funmi, this is who you are, they read that from me. They read my facial expressions. They read the way I talk, the way I act around people, my social behavior around people. They put all those things together. So, and they form their own conclusion and be like, oh, she's a shy person. Oh, she's a bold person. Oh, she's this. Oh, she's that. So when we doubt ourselves so much, the societal influence and the societal conclusion of who we are comes in. And when that comes in, then we start seeing different things coming at us from different angles, or people telling us, oh, you can't do that. Of some telling you, oh, the people that does that, they are here and you are here. So a lot of times it all comes from that self-doubt. Societal expectations, we put that upon ourselves and say, this is what they are looking for. Back to self-doubt. I don't have what they're looking for. Those expectations sometimes will make people refrain from doing that which they are supposed to do, from living a purposeful life. That this is what they're looking for. I don't have what they're looking for, so I'm just going to be here doing nothing. A lot of women, I've heard stories. I've talked to some women that are just like, so quick story. I know people that make pastries, different types. And I've heard someone say, oh, she is so big with her own pastry. She does all these. And I don't think I can just catch up with that. Unfortunately, this person that said this, our own pastry is much more delicious than the other one she's talking about, because I've tasted both. But she comes with, oh, because this is what the society is expecting, how you do your things, the beauty, the arrangement, the everything, and she feels she can do it. She feels she does not have that idea of doing it. So she kind of pull herself back. Maybe her purpose was to be able to make those pastries and make her earning from it. Make those pastries and impact people's life in the process. Be able to teach other people to make pastries, to make earnings. But she refrained from doing it. And that's just one example. Like different. And another thing I think really holds women back is lack of support. When we feel like nobody around us is seeing our vision, nobody around us understands our dream, nobody around us will help us out if we need help. Sometimes it just makes one get to a place where you give up. And you just feel like, okay, I don't even think I can do this. Even if from the beginning you are pumped up and you're coming with, oh, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And you get to a point where you just need people to support you. You just need people to help lift your hand up for one thing or the other, and you're not getting it. It can like down one's spirit, and you start to feel like, okay, I don't think, and that's majorly women. Especially when we talk about lack of support, especially married women. If you have a partner that is not supporting your dream, your vision, that's like the worst thing ever, because it's hard to go against each other while you're living together. It's hard to go against each other while you're saving together. So if I want to do this and it requires this much money and I don't have the support of this other partner, it's going to be hard to achieve that thing. So lack of support affects women a lot. Societal expectation affects women a lot. But most importantly, self-doubt is the cap of it. Self-doubt.
You're right. Thank you so much. So it's, from what you're saying, it means the internal challenges comes first, then we move to the external challenges. And sometimes when the internal is strengthened, the external become minimal. And I think you mentioned something about not receiving support, from the people. And we're still going to talk about some of the solutions to those challenges, actually. But one thing I just want to chip in right there is the fact that sometimes when God gives you a vision and when He gives you a purpose to live by, is because he wants to use you to fill in a gap for him. And so, because he's the one who gave you the vision, every other person will not see it. Sometimes God intentionally withdraw the support of those people so that you can see him alone, so that we can depend on him alone. How do I know this? I've been there. When I got to the US, I came to study MBA. But when I got here, it feels deep within me. This is not what I want. God said, you are the business. Don't study any business. You are the business. So prepare yourself to be that business. Prepare yourself, acquire the skills and the education you need to function as an entity for my purpose. So I switch. And guess what? Everyone believes that I'm stupid. Because why? When you come in as a student to the United States, the people that will give you job are either in the tech industry or in the business industry, or in probably minimal number in education and not so much in mental health. So people feel like you are stupid for going into mental health field when everybody is going into
nursing
and all that. Guess what? Pandemic hit, and there was increase for the need of mental health professional in the United States. However, I was following everything that God wants me to do. I focus on what God wants me to do. I focus on the research that God wants me to do. I lost every support. I managed to convince my husband, and he said, okay. But he said, but why don't you do what will make you make money faster? He said, it's about fulfillment. It's about doing what God wants me to do. Losing support is very real for women. But the self-doubt you mentioned first is very key. I never doubted making it successfully here in the United States as a result of my profession, because I know that my profession is not the key to God's blessings in my life. God's blessings is a must in the life of his children. He wish we prosper and be in health, even as our soul prosper. So if our soul prosper, every other thing will prosper around us. So that was what I key into. And guess what? After like 3 years, when I was having my advanced practicum with the University of Iowa Hospital and Clinics, someone called me, someone very close to me, part of those who neglected me. And they said, it seems you know what you're doing. When we ended the conversation, I said, thank you, Jesus. Because from day one, you helped me to know that I know what I'm doing and that I should keep doing it, not minding what every other person is saying or will say. So that thing you said is very, very key. Another thing that I will just add to what you said is many people don't believe you because they are not the one that God gave the vision to. So if God has indeed given you a purposeful life, then don't mind what any other person is saying. And then the third thing is not having a mentor. Whatever we want to do, and that's why we are here as coaches. If you're watching and it looks like nobody understands you, we are here as coaches to support you, and we will tell you how to reach us at the right time when you want. Okay. So we've talked about many of our stories, and I want to talk about somebody else's story. She's one of my coaches, Lisa Nichols. Lisa is a best-selling author and a 6-figure speaker, flying all around the world, speaking. When Lisa was in high school, the English teacher told her never to try to speak in the public because she was dyslexic, and she never knew. And she mentioned something. She said it's because she's nice. That's why she even have a C- in some of her courses. But guess what? Our company go public. That is what God can do when we choose not to doubt ourselves. That is what God can do when we ignore what people say. I love the scripture that says he confound the wise with his own foolishness. So, because even the foolishness of God is wiser than
It's
men.
wise.
People will think, oh, this is how it should be. But God is saying, no, that is not how it should be. So when we're facing any challenges, we just need to know that we can ride on, those who have gone ahead of us and they can put us through.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true. And
Do
actually,
you
I
have
want to
anything
add.
to add to that?
I actually want to add to that. Even though I did mention like obstacles for women, I didn't go for like youths have like different things like lack of clarity, peer pressure, not having a mentor, like you mentioned. That is mostly, yeah, some of them are unique to women, but like those lack of clarity and peer pressure is mostly unique to youth because they are just growing up. And a lot when I was young, when I was much more younger than now, I just have idea of the things I want to do, but not knowing how to go about it. And because I didn't know how to go about some of those things, I didn't do them, and I didn't get to have someone to mentor me or to guide me on doing it and all that. But just coming back to knowing that God's wisdom transcends our imagination. Like we can't even think about it. We can't even understand it. We don't have that much knowledge and understanding to understand God's wisdom and how He does His things. And that is why some of the things God will say, go do, or God is doing, will look so foolish to us. And we ourselves will already think and judge and say, oh, this won't work out. And I want to like just little story to just boost that, which means a lot. Some times ago, I woke up in the morning, like I would try to eat fruit, and I was cutting a cantaloupe. And I did cut the cantaloupe. And as I was cutting in between, a voice came to me and said, oh, go put the seed in. I have a little vegetable garden. I started like, oh, I want to have some vegetable garden. So I started doing it by the side. And that voice said, go put the seed that I'm scooping out into the little vegetable thing. And 3 times in my mind, I was given reasons why it won't work out. Not even knowing why I'm supposed to go put it there. Why, I don't know. In my mind, the first thing I said is that, oh, if one has to grow a cantaloupe, I think the seed is supposed to be dry. The second time I heard the voice in my head, I'm like, oh, what will cantaloupe seed do in my little tomato garden? And I kept giving myself reasons why, something I don't even know why I'm supposed to go put it there. I kept giving myself reasons why it won't work out. And at the end of the day, I gave in, because by the third time it dawned on me, like, I feel like I'm arguing with the Holy Spirit. That's the way it felt to me. Like, why am I arguing? It doesn't take me anything to scoop up the seed and dump them into that vegetable garden. So I took it there and I just put it there. But it's not even the cantaloupe. It's not the vegetable garden. It was a lesson for me. How much we argue and we doubt God using our own little wisdom that amounts to nothing in the sight of God. Our own little wisdom of, oh, I know how things are grown. Oh, I know it should be a dry seed. Oh, I know this. Oh, I know that. What God wants to do with the seed going in there, I don't know. And I got a result days later that gives me an idea of, oh, not that cantaloupe did not grow, but the site where I dropped those seeds and I just poured those things and I put water on it, I've actually planted okra before. I have put like seeds of okra in there that never grew. Nothing came out of that soil for a very long time. At the part where I put those cantaloupe seed and I water it and I kept, I would go in the morning because I saw tomato coming out. I was so happy I would go water it. The okra started coming out. The okra plant started coming out. I actually took a picture of it that day because it took me back to how much I argued to God those things. And to cut long story short, that was just it. We argue so much and we have that self-doubt and we feel so insecure because we lack people's support, because this is what the world wants from us, because we get pressure from our peers, or because we don't have clarity about what we're supposed to do. Then we use our own little wisdom to make conclusion that this is not going to work. And instead of all this living a purposeful life, we refrain from that. And God has a better plan for us if we let Him.
That's so true. That's so true. And I'm thank you for sharing those stories. I'm picking up from not having clarity. So what are the strategies that we can show people on finding their purpose?
If we go to not having clarity, first of all, I'm a Jesus girl. So always my first answer will always be God. My first answer will always be God, because I've thought about it several times. Who can know me better than the one who made me?
Exactly.
Who can know me better than the one that gave the purpose? Who can know me better than the one that gave the dream, the vision, gave me the goals? Who can take me there to a place of success, if not the ones that knows that knows the end from the beginning? So my thought, my answer for clarity in the first place is to always go back to God. To always go back to God. God will use people most times, but God will direct you to those people, or direct those people to you, which makes the journey much more easier or faster, as opposed to me looking by myself and looking for things here and there in the name of pursuing purpose instead of. So clarity, first of all, as a child of God, I will say God. Also, we do not neglect the place of professionals, and that is part of God uses people. God send people to you. God send you to people. Sometimes it doesn't come to you like, oh, go to Coach Tosin, she's gonna lead you. No, you just have to pray, leave it in the hand of God, and take initiatives and say, okay, I've prayed. I know God is going to direct me. God is directing me. My mind says I should go find a coach. My mind says I should go find a mentor. Then do your own homework by searching, by researching who can work best for me. You will find a lot of coaches. You will find a lot of mentors. Not everyone will work for you, but we still do not neglect the place of professionals, because God placed professionals, coaches, mentors there for a purpose. So finding clarity, talk to God, and after that, search for someone that can help to guide. And coaches, in the first place, coaches might not mentor you to do that which they've done before, but they will help you to figure out that answer that you already have, but you are not able to figure out. There was a time at a point in my life, I just know there's something. I just know there's something. I can figure it out. I don't know what it is, but I know there's something. And because I knew that there is something inside of me and something I want to achieve, I was doing a lot of all things. I was doing a lot of everything, but that which I'm supposed to be doing. I was here. Not that I'm not at a point, I was successful in those things, but that was not what I was supposed to be doing. I would do them and do them where I'm successful. Where you will know that that is not what you're supposed to be doing is when you start to get bored, tired. You get to a point you're like, oh, what's next? But when you get to that purpose, when you start living that life of purpose that God has ordained for you, it's like new wine each and every. You want to wake up to it. You want to wake up and run and be like, what do I need to do today? Not like drag out sluggishly and be like, oh, I'm going to go do this again today. So clarity, God first, find professionals that can help you. And everybody have like different stages. For some, you are at a place where you just need a coach to help you get that answer out. That was me. For some, you already found what it is, but you need a mentor to help pound you each and every day to like, go for it, go for it, go for it. This is how you need to do it. For some of us, we might have to start from a place of healing to even be able to get to a place of clarity. We might need to start from a place of, I need professional help, I need mental health doctor, I need a therapist to like get myself to a place of wholesomeness. Then I can now start pursuing what can a coach do for me? What can a mentor do for me? What will counseling do for me? So each and everybody has to realize which point they are in their life. And after praying to God, make a decision. Okay, this is the one that will work out for me, because this is the point I was. So that's the way I see clarity. God first, then seek professional help.
That's so powerful. That's so powerful. And that's why I love the fact that we're doing this together, because we're bringing in different perspective into the question. And one of the things that I was thinking about was also the fact that when we figure out, if we want to figure out, or we're looking for strategies, there are things that you've mentioned. And the little thing I would just add to that is, for people who are not born again, sometimes we see so many people who are also not born again. For such a person, is very, very essential for them to become more self-aware. So just in case you don't have the money, there are some people also who does not even have money to get a coach, to hire a coach.
That's
right. So let's look at those people. Somebody who is just scrolling through the Instagram, who is just tired of life and just whiling away time, and just say, okay, let me just waste time on Instagram. So if such a person come across, one of the things that I will first say is, if you don't know God and you also want to have a purpose, well, I see so many people fulfilling physical purpose, but there are spiritual purpose as well. So I've seen people who are, helping out there, helping children, doing philanthropy. They are fulfilling a purpose. However, there's some purpose that God really needs you to stand in the space, to fit in, to fill in a gap for Him in some people's life. And you can actually do that without knowing that God. So I encourage you, we invite you to come and enjoy the life in that Christ, the life in that Christ. And it's very simple. To see yourself as a sinner, accept that Christ actually died for you, and believe in Him, and you'll be saved. And when you do this, what happens to you is He exchanges life with you. So He gives you a new life, and then you start living that life of purpose. One of the things I've seen one thing that actually led me to Christ, I've always loved God, but one thing that led me to Christ was a brother. He came to our house. As at the time he passed away, he was a professor, Dr. Dele Shubawale of blessed memory. We call him Egbon in the church. At the time, I wasn't attending New Covenant Church yet, but he came to my house and he said something. He said, Sister Tosin, God loves you and He has a purpose for your life. I think I was 18 years old or thereabouts, and I couldn't stop thinking about that. God loves me. I've never heard that somebody loves me before all my life. So I said, God loves me and have a purpose for my life, except for secondary school boyfriend love card that they give during Valentine. I never had any. So somebody loves me and have a purpose for my life. And the same thing for whoever is listening to us today. God loves you and He has a purpose for your life. And that's the first strategy to knowing your purpose. And, just like Coach Funmi has said, I don't know if you have something else you want to add to that.
Same thing you said. If there's anything in this life that will give one satisfaction, that will give you a purpose-driven life, that will give you and me a life that is like set on a rock, that even though storm happen, things happen, but it will not be shaking. That is knowing God. That is knowing God. Just the joy of having someone that you can always go to, someone that listens, someone that doesn't judge you, someone that loves you the way you are, regardless of how you come, someone that's like just ready to do for you. I mean, whoever it is, nobody has ever like say I can die for you. Nobody, no human being, not even the word that we heard right now. Nobody wants to die for anybody. A mother is praying that the child will not get into trouble where she will have to choose just because nobody wants to, but Christ did. And what more love can we get? What more love? What more love can we get from anywhere than that? So same thing Tosin said, to get to a point where you just know that my purpose is set in life, even if I'm still a work in progress, even if I'm still pursuing it, even if I'm still trying to discover it, that's Jesus is the main thing. That is just it. For whoever is watching right now and listening, and you don't have Christ yet, and you're wondering what is these people talking about? I don't get the idea. What are they even driving at? I will say so funny the way I explain to my kids. I say, even if you've not grasped the idea of Jesus yet, because you are young and you are still feeling like, oh, if I want to believe something, somebody, I should be able to see him. I can see him. Where is he? And all that. And it's hard for you to grasp that idea. I tell them two things. I said, if two people come to you and one say, be good, be kind, be loving, be gentle, be the best that you can be, and someone else comes to you and say, oh, you need to kill, you need to bully, you need to steal, or you need to be the worst and all that. I'm like, which one will you pick? They said, oh, I'm going to pick the one that says be kind, be loving, be gentle. I'm like, that's Jesus. Just go with it. So that's my little explanation.
That's a perfect example. And I think you've actually talked about it. The next question I was thinking about, because I was thinking about how can, parents, community, help the youth in coming to a place of purpose. Because one of the things I've seen about purposeful living, Dr. Miles Monroe of blessed memory, he once tell a story of how a lady was naked before him, and he told himself that if he do this, then he will be playing with his purpose, because he understand his purpose as early as 16-year-old, and he was rocking the whole Bahamas with his band, and they were touching lives, changing their nations. And I'm wondering how much of so many pains and heartache in our memories we would have avoided if we got to understand purpose as a young person.
Awesome.
So I'm wondering, what do you think the community can do, the parents can do to help these kids?
And I believe that parent has like the greatest responsibility after ourselves. Whoever is in a position of parenting, it doesn't even have to be biological parents. It might be you adopt kids, it might be family, it might be aunties and uncles and all that. We have like great responsibility towards the younger generation, because even though God gives this younger generation to those of us that are a little bit older, we feel like we're in charge. We're not in charge, actually. God is in charge. But because they are under us, they are with us to guide them, we still have to go back to a place. So there's a place in the Bible that God said, if I train your kid, you will have peace. And that's always my prayer. I always pray, God, please train my kids so I can have peace. And when I get to that place, it impresses on me that I'm not the one doing the work. I'm just a vessel. So as a vessel now, as a community, as parents, what are you putting out to those kids? What are you helping to teach them each and every day so that they can figure out what purpose is? I remember saying youth, sometimes peer pressure is an issue for them. Clarity is an issue. Lack of mentorship is an issue where they can figure out what the purpose is. As parents, we need to start ourselves living a purposeful life for the younger generations to see. What are they seeing me do? Am I that mom that lays in bed till 12 a.m. and nobody has eaten, and just an example, and I'm dragging out and my kids, and when my kids become 18, I won't be able to force them out of bed because all they've seen their entire life is me dragging around, not brushing my teeth, not showering. That's the life they know. So we live by example. And that is the number one thing. Myself as a parent, am I living a purposeful life? Am I fulfilling my purpose on earth? Am I setting goals and reaching goals? That is the number one thing. To be able to impact the younger generation, our children, our nephews and nieces and all that. You have to live a purposeful life yourself. So first of all, as a parent, figure out what your purpose is in life. Those kids might actually be your purpose too. They are part of the purpose of a parent. But are you fulfilling that purpose as a parent? And that is number one thing. Also, I would say, like other things we can do in other parties, we should encourage exploration among kids, among youths. Let them, sometimes and this is something that affects me as a person too. Recently, I was discussing with my hubby, and we were talking about what are the things we can do to help our kids get to a place of decision making, to help them get to a place of setting goals and pursuing those goals and achieving those goals. And one of the things, which we do a lot of things, but one of the things we come to conclusion with is to hands off. A lot of time we are like umbrella parents and whatever other terms we use, that we're just there all the time, doing for them, not giving them the opportunity to use their inner knowledge, their wisdom that God has put in them too, because whoever God created, whenever we're born, God has already put some values in us. We just have to keep working it out and maintaining them. So those kids did not come empty. Those youths did not come empty. They have a lot of values, virtues, wisdom, knowledge that God has put in them as they were coming to earth. And a lot of time we subdue it as parents because we are using our own wisdom, knowledge, and all that to say we're training them, and we don't let them make use of what they have in them. So I say we come to a conclusion of, okay, hands off a little, not totally. I mean, I will not leave my kids to go do crazy stuff and say, oh, I'm handing off, I'm letting you figure it out. No, I will still be in the place of correction, a place of directing, a place of guiding and mentoring. But when it comes to things I know it's not harmful to them, I hands off and let them make the decision. I let them set the goal and see maybe they will reach the goal. And I love giving like little stories here and there because I do a lot of things with my kids. So since we're talking about youth, I will tell at the beginning of this year, I normally don't do setting a goal calendar wise, or this is what we're going to do at this time, and this is what we're going to do. Vision board. Let me use the word vision board. I normally don't do it because I set my goal and I go for it. But the beginning of this year, I decided, oh, let's do vision board, but I'm going to do it with my kids. So we sat down, I told them 5 different things that you want to achieve by the end of the year. So we set that up, we did the vision board, we cut out papers, and we did it together. And I said, put it in your room, then I'll put mine too, where I can see it every day. And we did that. That was me wanting that. My purpose, main reason for that was for them to set goals, pursue those goals, and reach those goals. And we keep checking on it, like, where are you? Or if they do something that I know it was on that vision board that they said they won't be doing anymore, I'll remind them. I remember you put this on January. Are you following through? So that was just a little step for me to make them set goals. So different things we can do. Everybody has their ways of doing things in their homes and different things we can do. But I will say, let's show them, not say. We say a lot of times, are we doing? Are we showing those? Are they seeing it?
Exactly.
Because it's easier for us to say, oh, go get your book and read. Have they ever seen me read a novel? Have they ever seen me read a book? Oh, you need to put that phone down, but you are constantly here scrolling. They will do what they see you do. Youth will do what parents do, what community do, rather than do what you say. So let's get on living that purposeful life ourselves. Let's get on encouraging them to explore more. And also I say, let's support, encourage, teaching them to make decisions. That's what I just talked about. Let's foster resilience in them. A lot of time I've seen parents like, oh, I just hit my food. Oh, no. Let's encourage, even though I would tell my kid, oh, sorry, you eat your food. Next time, please make sure you're looking where you're walking so that you don't do that. Those are just little examples. They are bigger than that. Let's foster resilience in these kids. Let's make them know that they are capable of doing things and not just giving in to, oh, I can't do this, I fail, and you let it be. Let's push those things through, but most importantly, let them see you do the same all the time. So you don't even have to go forward and like teach, because your life is already a lesson. for them to see and watch.
True.
My
True.
husband likes to work. I don't work out a lot. I try to do like 20, 25, 30 minutes every day, easy things. But my husband likes to go for walks. He likes to go for walks. If he calls me, if he says, baby, can we go for a walk? I'm like, oh, I'm tired. He's not asking me the second time. He's gone. He's not asking me the second time. He's gone.
Self-motivated.
Yeah. He's not, he won't stay there and be saying, let's go, no. The next thing I just realized that I can't find him anymore. He's gone. And our kids see that. My son sees that. And whenever he's going to be like, let's go. We're going for a walk. And even though he might not go as far as, he will take him around, drop him back home, then continue his own walk. It's hard for me to now sit and say, you go wear your shoe and go walk. Child will not go.
True.
He will make excuse.
True.
But because you're already geared up and you're walking out of the door and you're calling him to follow you, he sees you doing it.
That's true. Yeah. That's absolutely true. One of the, you said it all. The only thing I will add to that, one of the things that I do, actually I do too much. My children, I do too much to the point that my children will call me mommy coach. So I at some point I just said, Tosin, relax, they are children. So one of the things I've done for them recently is to, whatever book I'm reading, I will post the summary of each day or something I want them to learn. I'll put it in the group. We have a group chat. So I'll put it in the group. Then I'll ask them to tell me what they think about it. Another thing that I did for them also is to get them the purpose-driven kids.
I saw that.
So it's 360. It's for 365 days. So they can actually read one per day for a whole year.
I recently just saw that too.
So some of these things, they really helped. I'm so big on two things I'm big on when it comes to children. And they're so dear to my heart. Children generally in the world. I actually have a time that I dedicate praying for children around the world. And one of the things that I do, not until lately that I don't do it regularly, there was a time in my life we were in Iowa. I was praying consistently for children in Iowa. And we saw the results, because there are things that I don't want to see in the life of the children there. And we saw the results. We were, me and my friends, and personally I was doing that, and we saw the results. So one thing that parents must help these children as a community, as a church, is one, praying for them, and two, helping them get resources and materials that can help them to grow. And two materials that we recommend to all parents and all churches out there: one, the purpose-driven kids, and two, battlefield of the mind for kids. And maybe if I want to add one, is the power of a praying mom. Those three books are very, very essential for every mother out there, for every church out there looking to make their youth experience a purposeful and meaningful life. And I'm not saying children don't get their own way, like you mentioned, that we should allow them to make their own decision, make their own mistakes. A lot of children will still read these books. They will still do some of these things. You will still pray for them, but they will still go their own way. But trust me, because the seed is there.
Yeah.
Yoruba people will say, "Omo ajanoku o ki n yara, omo tekun ba bi ekun lo ma n jo." So if you are a giant, you can't give birth to a dwarf. It's not possible. And if you are a lion, you can't just give birth to just anything. Whatever you give birth to as a lion, you are going to have a copy of yourself.
Yeah.
So it's very essential for us to know that even if they go, they won't go far away from God, because the seed is already there. And that's the only thing I will add to,
that's
what you said concerning community helping, these children out.
That's true.
I think the last thing I would just love us to talk about is you've mentioned some of them actually in the course of our talking. I'll just say we should just mention it a little bit about what are the daily practices for intentionality. What can people do on daily basis to make sure that they are living a purposeful life every day?
Yeah, I mean, and I will go with what I do, because I believe we can teach out of what we know and out of ourselves. I mean, I can read books, I can research and tell you to go do this, do this, do this, do this. But do I do them? So I will go with what I do. And the first thing I will say, be very prayerful. I mean, when you were mentioning the praying mother, I have I have that, and I have the second one, the praying wife. I have that too, which I really enjoy reading. I
Very
would say,
powerful.
yes, I would say be prayerful. Be prayerful. And at every point, I don't know about other people, but at every point in life of a child of God, sometimes we kind of let the fire slide and it seems like it's going down. But back to the Father, where you have the seed of God in you,
Mm.
regardless of how far you've gone. I pray that none of us go far into backsliding or going into sin.
Unreachable.
Unreachable, yeah.
Point of being unreachable.
Or the heart being seared. I pray we don't go to that point.
Amen.
But
Amen.
we always get a call back.
Mm-hmm.
All those things we've learned, going back to teaching the young ones, a lot of things I know today, a lot of things that is working for me today are the things I learned at a younger age. Are the things I understood as a child of God at a younger age. And at that younger age, it's not like I gave my life to Christ at that point, but I still learn it. I learn the Bible. I get memory verses. I pray. I sing and all that. But at a point in time, they all came back together and eventually made me who I am today. So I pray. I will say the first step is be very prayerful. Be very prayerful. I'm a very thankful person. I love to thank God a lot, much more than I ask.
Very
Just
essential.
because my understanding, and I know people, the way we look at it is different. Just because my understanding is that I'm His own, He loves me regardless, and the things I've not even asked for, they are made available to me, and they are always being made available to me. So I just love to just be grateful. I just love to be grateful all the time. I'm grateful for the things I've not even seen, because I have this peace and realization that I'm going to see them. So prayer is the most important thing. Be grateful to God for where you are, even if you are not where you want to be. Be grateful to God for where you are at this very point in time. And I will say, back to what I do, be intentional with your life generally. I am intentional. It doesn't come easy, and it doesn't come as, oh, I'm going to do this and I can do it. One has to work at it and be very intentional with it. You will realize that when you're not intentional with your plans, with your goals, you can maybe do them for 2 days and you slide back to not doing them or not following through. So it has to be intentional. And lately I started working on myself. I'm like, I love myself. I love the way I look, but I want to even much more better. Not like look, like I want to be more stronger. I want to be more fit. I want to be able to my kids are at a stage where they are very active. They are very active and they want you to be involved.
To match up the energy.
Yes, match up the energy. I mean, yesterday I can still just jokingly say, yesterday we have a long walkway, and my kids will just stand up and be like, we want to be that. They will be like dashing to the door, back to the living room, dashing and be counting for themselves. And I was sitting there, my husband was coming out of the office, and they dragged him into it. They dragged him into it. They're like, Dad, you're gonna run with us. Let's see who is gonna be first. So he had to be running back and forth with them to see maybe he can catch up or he will be first or whatever. And every time he loses, they laugh. They'll be like, yeah, you got last. Or every time he wins, they'll be like, oh, Daddy cheated and all that. Kids are like that. They want you to be involved. They want you to be in it. And even in other aspects of life, I want to go for a program. I'm going to climb up 3 flights of stairs with my high heel. I want to be fit to be able to do that and not be resting after 2 stairs and be like, oh, I'm tired. So one of the things I became more intentional about doing is working my body, like just breaking a sweat every morning, regardless of how little. So I will wake up, I will pray, and that's just my mini prayer of just thanking God that I'm awake, And I'll pray and I'll go in and brush my teeth and go do my little workout and come back and shower. And after shower, I dress up. Then I come out into the office. Then I actually have my prayer time, my Bible reading time, which is a little bit longer. And after that, then I will go and make sure I get whoever needs breakfast. Sometimes they don't need breakfast. They let me know. If they need breakfast, I'll make breakfast. And I still go to work. And if I finish that, not every day, if I need to make my videos, I make my video. But that's just me saying we have to be intentional about what we do in a bid to live a purposeful life. Very prayerful. And because everybody's goal and step is different from each other. You don't have to do it like me. You set your goal, you set your schedule of how things need to be done to suit you, but be intentional in following through.
Exactly.
Each and every day.
Exactly. Oh, thank you so much. That's wonderful. And more of what I hear you saying right now is you're intentional about your health, your fitness, and being a mother in the house. One of the things that I do, and I've been doing this for about, I think since 2018 or 2017, before I left Nigeria, actually. So between 2016 and 2018, 2016, 2017, I started doing it because I read a book that really changed my life and opened my eyes to this. And it's the power of focus. So immediately I tune into how I want to live my dream. Then I designed every goals into actionable goals. So I put them in my calendar. I use calendar a lot, and almost every hour something will show up in my calendar. And my husband will say, "Did you also put the time for that thing there on the calendar?" Because I put the calendar time for everything, I put the bonding time with children. I divided the health, the spiritual, the physical, the finances. So I divided everything, and I tried to design actions around those things. So I also leave a space for frivolity also. Some of the frivolities that I do is probably somebody called me and they just want to gist, and they were old friends that I really love and I've missed them. So I give time for something like that. But 90% of the time, I do, what you said, and then I follow every action that I need to take to move towards a particular goal. Let me give an example. When I'm writing a book, every day is a must for me to write a chapter.
Yeah.
So whatever will happen, if I will not eat, most of the time I will eat anyway. But I love writing. I'll make sure that I write. So if I have a target, I might have a target of 30 days to do this thing. So sometimes we just need to, the intentionality of living a purposeful life comes with having something you focus on, just about your health, like the fitness part. I'll make sure that I get this done. And it's okay if that's the only one thing that you were able to get done for the day. Yeah. It's okay. But just to make sure, so that's what I do. I make sure that one thing that I do move me towards the bigger goal.
Bigger goal. Yeah. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we'll just realize before you know it, you look back and you say, when did I get here? It's because every day you're being intentional about moving towards those small actions, actionable steps that we move towards on a daily basis.
Yeah. You're right.
Something to add to that before we round up.
Yeah. And what you just said, and basically that's what I do naturally. And for me, my wake up time cannot shift. If my wake up time shifts, it's messes up the whole day. Not mess up because I can always pick up, but I feel like I become sluggish. So that's one of the things. There's a lady that she's going through coaching with me right now, and we talk about different things. And one of the things she mentioned she wanted to do differently was wake up 30 minutes earlier than she normally wakes up. So that because that is how she feels that she can achieve a certain goal that she's pursuing. So and walking towards a bigger goal for her was that thing she needed to achieve. the smaller things, I call them mini goals. So I always have long-term goals, short-term goals, mini goals, and sometimes mini are the things I do every single day. And our own mini goal was to wake up 30 minutes earlier than she normally wakes up every day. So for a very long time, that was our focus. That was what we're working on. And some like me also, I have to wake up at a certain time to be able to function right at every other level. Recently, I'm writing a book, and yeah, we'll talk about that another time, which will come out soon. And like you said, I have to daily, even if I get in there and I'm not getting the idea I needed, even if it's 2 lines, I have to put it down.
Yes.
Even if it's 2 lines, I have to put it down. I might now come back, maybe the next time I come back and I have more ideas, I might correct that 2 line, but I need to put something down. Those are the things we do daily, little bitty things that goes towards whatever we've set apart as our short-term goal or our long-term goal, and be so that we can achieve those goals at the end of the day. But back to what you said and what I said is being intentional about those little things and not do them today, and the next time you remember it's like in 2 weeks time, like, oh, I did not do that. If people have to like set up calendar like you do, that's awesome, because for it's not everybody that remembers that I need to do this. So a calendar will remind you. A beep on your phone at that particular hour, at that particular time, to remind you that, oh, you need to stand up and go do this. We will be a very good help to get you towards the bigger goal and to help you live a purposeful life each and every day. It might be post-its on the wall, on the fridge, to just remind you that you're supposed to be doing this today. There are things that we don't forget. And so I wonder sometimes why we forget things about our life. If you have a doctor's appointment, if they say get there at 5 a.m.,
we will.
You set up every alarm and every reminder just to be there, so that, because you know if you're like 5-10 minutes late, probably the doctor will be gone by the time you're there. How much more our own life, our own purpose? It shouldn't take us anything to set up reminders, set up alarm, put post-it up, and all that to remind you you are supposed to be. One thing I do also to get me close around and closer to my purposeful living is reading. I love to read. I love to read. No man is an island of knowledge. I love to read. I love to sometimes I've read books and I'll be like, okay, this is not for me. This, whatever they wrote in here, is not for me, because you don't know until you get into it. So that it doesn't matter. But I've read a lot of books also that I'm able to gain more understanding, more insight into what I'm doing, into what I'm going to do. So just be intentional. Just be intentional. Set those goals, work at it each day, but be intentional. Know that you are pursuing something bigger than you, and just work at it. Yeah.
And that is it. That is it. You said it all. So one question I will just ask, anyone watching this is, how intentional are you about your health, about your finances, about your physical health, actually, about your emotional health, about your spiritual health, about your relationship health? Because all these things, I just realized that in our bid to fulfilling purpose in life, we need to be whole. We need the holistic aspect of ourselves, the spiritual, the emotional, the physical, the social, the spiritual. We need all those things. And relationship also very, very essential. So in summary today, I don't know, is there something that you haven't talked about and you really need to let out to the people?
Nothing really. We were talking about resources and all that. Actually, I want to talk about a book, which I'm not publicizing anybody's book or anything, but just knowing that sometimes when we do things and we're not intentional about it and we're not letting God guide us, maybe you listen, God gives you an instruction, it guides you a little bit, and you just go back to yourself without following through. It keeps us longer on a spot than we should have been.
Exactly.
It puts us in some things we could have achieved even much faster
You're
Yeah.
right.
So these books, lately, I went back. I was looking through my books, and I saw this book. It's Find Balance in an Unbalanced World by
Mm,
Dave Braun and Troy Hamda.
mm,
And yeah, and so this book, I can't even remember where I bought the book from. I know I bought it. Nobody gave this to me. I can't remember, but I think it was 2018
mm,
that I bought this book from somewhere. The
mm.
book looks pretty new, right?
Mhm.
That shows
You
you it
you
was
keep it
not
so
read.
well.
Yeah, that shows you the book was not read. I
Mm,
bought it with my money because I love books. So when I
mm,
see books, I quickly read through the back. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be nice, and I bought it. But I missed different other things like reading other books. I missed life. I missed kids. I missed work, job, whatever it is. I just kept the book with every other book that I
mm,
had, and it's been there. And I've read other books after that. I read so many books after that. But lately, I was just like, sometimes I like to rearrange things, and I was just going through like all the different books on the shelf, and
mm.
I picked the book up again, and I saw it. I flipped through. I'm like, did I even read? I mean, the book is pretty new. I'm like, did I even read this book? And I knew I did not read this book. So I flipped through, I read few parts, I went back and read. And just realizing that the purpose, the getting to purpose, discovering purpose, that it took me time
Mm,
to like figure it out. God helped me to figure it out.
mm.
But this would have been a good resources
True.
also. Maybe it probably would get me there, but it would have opened my mind and my
Mm,
mindset to a lot of things, to some understanding that can help me along the way, even as I seek the face of God, as I read my Bible and all that. But I never got to read in the book
mm,
because of every other thing. So back to read. Intentionality.
mm.
Intentionality. I know you talk about purpose-driven life. I love
Mhm,
purpose-driven life. I read it
mhm.
when I was maybe when I just entered college. Somebody gave it to me as a birthday gift. And I read it then, and it made sense to me, but not so much sense.
Mm,
Going back to youth not having clarity, because I just read it like a novel, right?
true.
I just read it like a novel, and it was just,
Mhm,
oh, I love the book. It helped me to know this, but I
mhm,
don't understand. Now I'm reading it again
mhm,
in a different way. I'm
mhm.
understanding even more things differently than I did
Exactly.
then. So I will, if there's anything at all, as a layman, as anybody out there, either you know Christ, you don't know Christ yet, I will say be a reader. I love to read, I love to write. Be a reader. The more you read, the more you gain knowledge, the more
Mhm.
you gain understanding.
True.
Even if it's the Bible you want to read. The
True.
things I've read before in the Bible, lately I
Mhm,
read again Hebrew 11, and I get to the point talking about Abraham,
mhm,
he was called to go to a place
mm,
where he did not know will be his inheritance,
mhm,
and by faith he went there. And it sounds so new to me. I read it
mm,
several times. I'm like, when God is guiding you and leading you to go places, you
mm.
don't even know what plan sometimes he has for you in
Exactly.
that place. And if you don't pick up your faith and believe in God
Mm,
and go with it, you
mm.
might be at a loss. I
So
might
good.
be at a loss. And
Mhm,
that just opened my eyes again to see some things God says do, back to us saying, talking
mm,
about the wisdom of men and the
mhm,
wisdom of God. Some things
mm.
sounds like foolishness to
Yes.
us. And we're
Mm,
like, I don't think this will work out.
mm,
If you don't go with faith, you will be losing something at the end of it. If
mhm,
Abraham
mm,
did not go to that unknown land, he
mm,
would never know that that was his inheritance, that
mhm.
God was giving that to him as his
Exactly.
inheritance.
Exactly.
So my encouragement to us today, even as we wrap up, Tosin, is that as we align with God and
Mhm,
align our life with Him, He
mm.
will align us with
Exactly.
our purpose. And as
Exactly.
we do that, let's be more intentional. Let's set
Exactly.
goals, be more intentional. Let's be
Mhm,
a reader. Let's ask questions. Let's foster positive relationship with
true.
people. Let's foster positive relationship around us. Go out, network with people. Find professional help if you need professional help. Coach Tosin is here. And I'm
And
here.
Coach Funmi is there.
Yeah. And I'm here too. And I'm the one that is always willing. If I need to be a coach, I will be a coach to you. And if I need to wear the shirt of a mentor and help to guide,
Mm,
I will do that. So
mm.
let's be intentional in all our doings.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's very powerful. One of the things I've seen about Most changes and transformation I've experienced in my life, they come as a result of books that I've read. As a kid, I don't have opportunity to read storybook, but I have opportunity to read Bible. You know those Gideon Bible that you do Bible school. So my brother did the correspondence and he got the Gideon Bible. And so that was probably the only book that I had to read as a child, apart from Taiwan Candy. You know, Taiwan Candy, your Bible that somebody transferred to me from generation to generation. You know, besides that, the Bible was the thing I was able to read. Then all those books, you see, that book that you bought, what I perceive in my spirit is for a season. Just like our purpose, they are for season as well. There are some things that we can't come out when it's not the season.
When
you
it's
see,
not
the
your
time
time.
feeling, I need to do something. I need to do something. That's the season.
Yeah.
But those things will be there. So God made you have that thing for the season.
When the time is ready.
I buy a book every time when their season comes. There was a time when we first got married and we start having challenges. And the challenges, most of them were coming from me because I really don't know how to deal with a man, because I never lived with a man. I never saw an example. And it was on and on until one day I have bought this book before I got married, The Total Woman.
I have it.
And I went back to read. And
the book is right here.
Everything I've been, nagging about is in the book.
Yeah.
And I told my husband, I said, see. I was like, Jesus. So those things, they are actually for season. And that's why I will encourage anyone, just like Coach Funmi has said, make sure you read. When you are reading, it's like you are eating somebody else's brain. Yeah. That's how it is.
Yeah.
You are eating somebody else's brain.
Picking somebody else's knowledge, wisdom, and all that. Yeah. Especially the ones that have been before us.
Exactly. And the beautiful thing about that is what it took, because when we write, we are writing our experiences, right? Yeah. So what it took Coach Funmi to experience and learn in 15 years, she put it in a book. What it took another professor somewhere, another researcher somewhere, 15 years, 20 years, they put it in a book. And you are just eating that.
Make it easier. Yeah.
Genius. That's the wisdom. So we've said a lot today, and I'm really thankful that you could make it. Funmi, I really appreciate you joining me today. I want to say a big thank you to you and your husband and your children for releasing you.
Thank you.
I'm actually going back to my children right now. I promised them I'll be back in an hour. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
If they want to join you, or if they want to join your coaching, where can they find you? How can they find you?
You can actually reach out to me on using Gmail, thewomanandmore@gmail.com. I have social media handles. I have Instagram. I have YouTube. And they are Facebook, and they are all The Woman at More, thewomanandmore@gmail.com. My Facebook is actually in my name, the name on the screen right now, Funmi Shoyomi. Instagram, you will see my name there, but if you go with thewomanandmore@gmail.com, you can send me email. The Woman and More is what is on Instagram. The Woman and More is what is on YouTube. The Woman and More. I have a TikTok with social media handle where I just put in encouraging words for those that probably are not using other social media handles. So to recap and go again, my email, thewomanandmore@gmail.com, on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok as The Woman and More, on Facebook as Funmi Shoyomi.
Thank you so much. I want to thank every viewer for watching our episode today. In the next episode, I'm going to be bringing another guest, and we're going to be talking about how mental health actually impacts living a purposeful life. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you. Until we see you next time, there's something I always say, keep becoming a better you, because things work when we work it. And we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye.